Hey, Thomas, what are you doing there?
Oh, hey, Mike. I was just testing my blood to see if I'm an alien or not.
Oh no. Oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah. It's something screwy with the neighbor's dog. So,
Yeah. Right on. Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
hey,
Yeah.
everybody. We're the first to last, the Nerdom, and we're talking about the Thing, the 1982 version. So, we've been on a little bit of a hiatus for the holidays. What's been up with you, Mike?
Not much. Just enjoying the downtime. I really pretty much didn't take any break over the week. We had enough days off to cover me that I was good. But
Hmm.
I'm good. I would say very good, very very relaxed, very
Hmm.
refreshed for this new year. And I think we were kind of catching up there before the show, a little pre-show chat while you're waiting for me to get
Right.
my numerous drinks ready to go.
Yeah.
Uh, this is at the very end of my workday, so like I had to like kind of shift gears, and I
Hmm.
was cussing out the thing. Anyway, yeah, no, New Year's going good so far. How about you?
Oh yeah, good, good. We're getting ready for our leading into our second year as the first to last the Nerdum, and I had kind of I had a good feeling about this year. Just a general sense of, yeah, let's get everything on target. Including my life, as far as, not that I'm a screw up and everything's
No,
gone wrong or anything, but
no,
there's always ways to refine and perfect. You never reach perfection, but yeah, there's always ways to trim away the fat, so to speak, and get everything honed in and razor sharp,
absolutely, yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, well, that's always the promise of the new year. Turn the page into the
Hmm.
to the new chapter of the new chapter, new year, new book. I don't know,
Yep.
whatever. Insert
Yeah.
your cliche thing, but in all seriousness, no, this is a time of year where
Hmm.
folks do take time out and see what's up, and they
Hmm.
hopefully let go of the things that just don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we'll maybe get into it a little bit on our grab bag, which is our other show that we do weekly here
Yes.
on this channel. But yeah, I'm looking towards the year, and the Chinese say it's going to be the year of the rabbit. I say screw that. It's going to be the year of the nerdom. I think last year, I forget what the Chinese had it as, but I think it was the year of cringe, and I think we're going to get a little bit into that in our roundup on the grab bag, as far as what was going on in last year. There was a lot of cringe, lots and lots of cringe.
There was. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 That is from the latest one to. I'm sure we'll cover it in the
Hmm.
grab bag. But holy cow! Like, boy, there were some folks that seemed like they were speed running to
Hmm.
get it in before the end of last year, and then they
Absolutely.
definitely couldn't wait. So they were speed running. To
To the
get
very
into
end,
the
yeah.
cringe corner as quick as they can. God, bless
Right.
them. We almost have we probably could fill four cringe corners up if we really wanted to. Anyway, yeah,
Absolutely.
no, but yeah,
Uh,
but this week we had discussed what we wanted to review. And
mhm.
like Thomas mentioned, and the thing, I need to get better at the skits because I need to up my game because Thomas sure as heck has. And he started off like that in the brand new first episode of the year. So he's
Yeah, and
you're not messing around.
don't worry, it's not blood, it's ketchup. So I'm stuck with the smell of ketchup. I thought sriracha sauce would have been good. It's a darker color, but I didn't
Yeah.
want to sit there with the smell of sriracha next to me. I love the taste of sriracha, but the smell of it is not as pleasant as, say, ketchup.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to have that danger close to the old
Mhm.
sniffer. I don't blame you
Yeah, but
for
before we
sure.
run off our people that are here just for the thing, let's jump right into it. So the thing, it came out in 1982. Well, that's the one we're talking about.
Yep.
This is a remake. The first one came out in the 50s. The Thing from Outer Space, and that was John Carpenter, the director of this movie. One of his favorite movies as a kid. So he was very excited about doing this remake, and I have to say it did not splash with the people in 82. It came out right in between Blade Runner and ET, and ET
Oh,
just
wow.
swallowed up the whole world. Everybody was
Just
talking about ET. But now today, I think it's things has had its revenge. I think more people talk about the thing now than ET. I don't hear anybody talk about ET, but there's you could always get someone talking about the thing. So I think in the long run, the thing had longer legs and has kind of reached a very nice spot in the cult pantheon of cult movies. It's an interesting mix of sci-fi, horror. There's almost a, shall I say, a closed room mystery, like a Agatha Christie kind of thing, in that we're trying to figure out who the thing is. And just to give a little short thing on, if you come here, you've probably seen the thing. But what we don't like giving away spoilers. So this is kind of, if you just watched it, just be watching us, maybe we could tempt you into watching the thing. So we try to keep away from massive spoilers. But this movie's about a group in the Antarctica, a U.S. research station, and a dog shows up, followed by a plane or a helicopter with these Norwegians in it trying to shoot down this dog. So there's a big confusion, and it turns out that that dog was an alien that can shapeshift into human form. And the rest of the movie is them trying to figure out who the alien is.
right, because it can shapeshift and figure out who's what. Yeah, and this no wonder. I mean, I was probably. I think I was. I had never seen this before. We decided to cover it.
Oh,
Heard
really?
about it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
had heard about it. This and
Mm-hmm.
that. I might have seen bits and pieces of it, but I
Mm-hmm.
never. Probably like when I was a little kid or whatever. It was like on in the background or whatever. But now I didn't like start to finish or whatever. But it's no wonder why I feel like I was primed to really enjoy this one because there's so many things that
Mm-hmm.
different shows and movies and books and all kinds of things, even comics have borrowed, begged, borrowed,
Mm-hmm.
and so and of course, you know, it's a sincerest form of flattery. They say
Mm-hmm.
is a you know a
Yeah.
copy.
Yeah, and the kids out in our audience may get this reference. Among Us is very much very very much a descendant of this movie. You're trying to suss out the saboteur or the traitor among there's I think, as far as I know, there's two scenarios, one in a spaceship or in the other's actually in a looks like a Antarctica station, very
Mhm.
much like the thing. So yeah, that game, and there's several other games that, but that's the most popular these days with the kids.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, and this has been done on many Star Trek episodes,
Hmm.
or maybe not quite exactly carbon copy, but definitely it
Hmm.
definitely hasn't. There's been at least 3 or 4 episodes that I can think of off the top of my
Yeah.
head, and then I think X Files did one of these too, or probably a few of them actually,
Hmm.
or similar to it anyway, whatever. But they, yeah, this was just no wonder. It was no wonder
Hmm.
why you know it was awesome. It was just a nice, pleasant surprise. And here we are kind of dipping into that horror a little bit, but with the sci-fi hat on.
Hmm.
And it's no wonder this came after what is it? Aliens came. Our Alien came in the late
Hmm.
70s,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
very late breaking 70s.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yep, and then you had this in '82. Yeah, there was like a whole spate of these. So that's really interesting.
Hmm.
That well, of course, Blade Runner was crushed as well.
Hmm.
Technically, didn't
Yeah.
make its didn't make it dead like they were hoping.
Hmm.
But it became a cult following, and I remember that watching those kind of movies. Yeah, you're right.
Hmm.
E.T.
Yep.
That's like a movie like where everybody's seen like a million. I feel like everybody's seen
Hmm.
like a million times up to the time
Right.
you're 20. and then like then you kind of just peace out on like, hey, let's put it in, like no, I'm good. I mean, not that I don't like
Yeah.
it. It was a great movie, don't get me wrong. It's just
Yeah.
little good. It's just, I don't know, like I'm not a huge ET fan, so it's not like I have to have the thing on repeat like I love Dune. So I
Right.
mean, there go I. But anyway,
Yeah. When ET came out, I was a young tyke. I wasn't old enough to see The Thing or Blade Runner, but gosh darn it, I really did want to see it. In our house, we didn't have HBO or Showtime or Cinemax or any of those things. But we did have paid cable. And The Thing, after a couple of years, it came out on cable TV, regular cable TV. But they have to, it's regular cables or regular cable TV, so you had to cut out all the bad stuff. So I saw a very trimmed down version of The Thing, and it wasn't until later when I was older and videotapes were a big craze that I actually got to rent it and actually see it in its full glory. But yeah, and the cool thing is I got this Shout Factory Blu-ray, which is the perfect thing if you're The Thing fan. That's it right there, the collector's edition. Definitely, if you're a big fan of the collector of The Thing, get this. It has the movie, but it also has a little over an hour documentary. It's got commentary. It's and the best commentary. It has a couple of different commentaries, but the best one is John Carpenter and Kurt Russell together, just shooting the crap because new year, new YouTube. We can't be cursing or YouTube spanks us on our wrist. So
yeah, that's with the new community guidelines and
Yep.
whatnot. Yeah, that they'll clarify in about 6 years.
Yeah. but the cool thing is that it also has the TV broadcast version of The Thing on it, and it's very poor quality because it's, I guess I don't know what elements they had for it, but yeah, if you wanted to see the actual TV broadcast version of it that I watched as a small lad, you could do this on this one. But
That's
yeah,
cool.
it's got a fountain of information on here. It's I spent a day it's took me the whole day to just go through all the extras on this. So be prepared. I've got plenty of trivia knowledge to throw out to you for this movie. But yeah, it's one of my favorites. Even watching the heavily edited version on TV, it was a bit of a mind blower for me as a kid watching it. But yeah, the scene that always stands out to me is the scene where where they are testing the blood. That's one of those scenes that just kind of blows me away, and it stays with you. Everything else, I'm watching it and it's, oh yeah, I remember that. Okay, yeah. But that's the scene that always, when I think about watching it again, kind of jumps out at me in my mind. And the cool thing is, if you watch the movie, there's lots and lots of scenes with guys just standing around and talking, and to make that interesting is is a challenge, I would imagine. And that's the thing that that actually scared John Carpenter making it. The scene that he said that terrified him to actually film was the scene where they find the blood has been destroyed. And it's basically a bunch of guys standing around looking at this cabinet with blood in it, talking. And he goes, how in the hell am I going to make this interesting? And he did find ways. So yeah, if you're a filmmaker and kind of want to know how to do scenes with a bunch of people in it, this is a movie that you could watch and really appreciate what they do here. There's a scene where they're just standing around a fire, and it's gripping. It's very very interesting.
Yeah, you
To
feel the
watch.
tension, the that's palatable, for sure. Like when he does stuff like this, like yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and yeah, that's again. That's why I say again, it's much like a Agatha Christie mystery, because they're all kind of standing around and talking, and like I said, it's very very tense. Unlike Agatha Christie, where everybody seems to be okay and nothing drastic's going to happen, there's that constant tension of, okay, one of them's the alien. Anytime it could go crazy and start killing people, and there's
Man,
that
it's the
tension.
warmest place to hide is right.
But yeah, and it's a interesting ensemble cast. There's an interview with Wilford Brimley in it where he's talking about how it was going to be an ensemble cast according to John Carpenter, talking to Wilford Brimley, and Wilford Brimley says, yeah, and then they hired Kurt Russell and he ended up being the star of it. But if you're going to have a star, it's good to have Kurt Russell because he seems to be pretty down to earth.
Right.
Yes. So yeah, and that's one of the things that comes across in the commentary track between Kurt Russell and John Carpenter is that that they're just they're just a couple of dudes just hanging out. There's no ego, there's no anything, and there's at one point there's I think in some of the pictures and on that Blu-ray cover, there's that flamethrower that Kurt Russell's holding, and there's several scenes where they use the flamethrower. So Kurt Russell, being the cut up comedian that he is, he while John Carpenter was off on the set doing something else, he had some of the crew wrap him up in bandages, and and when John Carpenter showed up, he goes, "Oh, John, there's been an accident with the flamethrower." And, they say it was like wrapped up like the mummy, and John Carpenter said, "Yeah, I was looking at everybody, seeing which one will break because I knew there was y'all were messing with me." But so
Absolutely.
yeah. So they had a good time, and again, it's a all male cast, all male crew. They said that there was one woman that was in the production that was on set, but she actually was pregnant and had to leave. So at one point, after that point, every guy on the set was a guy, and that's very unique for this, for even that time. It's I don't think this movie could be made that way now. I mean, you obviously you would, especially with all the laws and regulations, you have to have, but at that time, they said that they were just up there, and because they filmed like the big landscapes and stuff, the big vistas in Alaska, out in the out in the snow, but where they filmed the actual actors in British Columbia in Canada. They set aside this kind of remote place where there was a bunch of loggers and stuff, so they actually kind of invaded that logger town. So it was just them and the loggers drinking and carrying on throughout the winter. And then they also filmed on the Universal set or studios in a kind of a chilled, heavily air conditioned setup. But when they're in the inside the research facility, that's going to be in the Universal set in California. So they said that they'd be filming on the set in the Universal Studios, and they're filming that portion of it during the summer, during one of the hottest summers in California. So they'd be decked out in their big coats and whatnot, and they would walk out for their smoke break, and it would be like 110 degrees out there.
That's crazy.
They would walk through from the studio set to the commissary for their lunch, and after a while they said, "Oh, screw it, we're not gonna," because both places were air conditioned, so they would struggle through walking across to the commissary in their big coats and whatnot. And they said that they got kind of some interesting looks from the people in the commissary. There's one character, no spoilers, but he gets shot in the head, and he had a big gunshot wound on his head. He said that he had some interesting looks when he was eating in the commissary with the big gunshot wound.
Shit. Yeah, there is a lot of that. This is a pause here on this scene. this is again, you see this done a few times over, but with the whole autopsy scene that like
Mhm.
something happened, and then here we are, and then we all quickly, like, it seems like whenever like two or more people get it together in any of this movie, it's a prime
Mhm.
opportunity to absolutely shred any hope that they could possibly have, just with
Mhm.
their positive vibes going on.
Yeah,
They
it's
start
a
to turn on each other like crazy.
yeah, it's a very dark movie, and it's one of those movies that came right before all the big blockbuster action movies. So you get a couple of one-liners and whatnot, but not like say a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie later on would have. There's not much levity in it, uh,
No, no.
and
There's kind of some funny things here with
yeah.
the.
Yeah, there's there's a scene which you're doing there. There's a scene where a head gets the thing is mimicking this man, and they're blowtorching the guy, but the head stretches off and falls off the table and sprouts these spider type legs and scurries off, and one character turns around. It's what was the line? Let's see. I had to have it down here. Uh, you gotta be effing kidding. That's sort of the classic
Right,
line in it. Of course, he said the full thing. But yeah, there's
right.
and there's one actor, Richard Mazur. He plays Clark in the movie. He was he was there when they were filming, and he goes, John, you gotta get because he's the character says that line kind of off camera when it was originally filmed, and they were just showing the head walk off. He goes, John, you gotta have a close up of the guy saying it. That's your money shot. That's your scene there. And John goes, oh, I don't know if we need to do that. And but they talk him into it, and that's one of the classic scenes that they always show. So yeah,
That's awesome.
the director's not always right, but yeah, John Carpenter is one of those directors that you can go up to, and the actors can go up to and say, hey, how about we try this? And he's always
Right.
open for things. And one of the things that kind of stands out, this movie did not do well at the box office. I don't even think it broke even. And he had a three picture deal with Universal, which got kind of squashed. This was going to be the first in the series, and that's one of the things that John Carpenter says kind of made a big change in his life. If he had gone on and was able to make those two other movies for a big studio, his career would probably have went off in a different direction than it did.
Right.
In that he had to go back to the small independent companies and make movies through that way. But yeah, so his next movie would have been the adaptation of the Stephen King novel Firestarter. So in an alternate universe, we would have got the Firestarter by John Carpenter, which I would have loved to have seen.
That would have,
His,
who knows? Like, that would be a really cool. That would be a really cool flick to if we had
Mhm.
interdimensional cable. Only if.
Yeah. We gotta hit up Rick and Morty for their TV. But yeah, and this is the first movie in John Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy, and the second movie we've already seen in The Mouth of Madness, and then the third one is Prince of Darkness. So maybe we could finish up the trilogy at some point and do that one as well.
I think that's one to have in the can,
Hmm.
for sure. Because then we can follow up with the whole,
Yeah, kind of go over the trilogy. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, this one, it was old school classic. Jump scare. Like, what the hell is that? Like, what am I
Hmm.
looking at? Like, just that
Hmm.
all kinds of stuff. Right there on the border of light and dark, where you're like,
Hmm.
what? And that's kind of how everybody is. That's the feeling that everybody, again, whenever these guys get together, it it's not long before we start taking a nosedive for like, well, I guess we're just gonna get murdered. It's not the most resilient bunch to represent humanity.
Right.
But I mean, Kurt Russell, classic friggin' Kurt Russell, like great.
Mhm,
That was also another kind of a second layer of cool for
mhm.
this watching this movie was like, damn, that's Kurt Russell. Like
Yep.
it makes you want to watch more,
Yeah.
Escape from LA or
Yeah.
Escape from New York. Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was another movie that I saw heavily edited as a kid on cable, Escape from New York. And Snake Plissken. When I saw Snake Plissken, I was like, I want to be that guy when I grow up.
yeah,
That's
that guy's cool.
that's the ultimate cool. But this character here, R.J. McCready, Mac, he's a definite second runner up. Uh,
Oh
and
yeah, freaking
the
dynamite and flamethrowers, like shotguns too. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and they did some of the wide shots of the second unit out in so they didn't have the actors, they just had so this is gonna be long shots. They did it's kind of stand-ins and they had in those scenes they had Kurt Russell's character in that big floppy hat that he wears.
Right.
So 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 they had already shot that before they actually did the major filming of the show. And so John goes up to Kurt and goes, "You're going to have to wear the hat because we've already established that in the long shots." He
Right.
goes, "John, really?" but but leave it to Kurt. He made it work. I mean, that's still he still looks cool in the hat.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this
Yeah.
was
Yeah, and
there's the hat there, big
yeah.
old floppy.
Yeah, and then there's they go to they're in the Norwegian outpost that's totally burned down. And they find some dead people in there. But the whole outpost is burned up and destroyed. So what they did was at the end, towards the end of the movie, in the outpost 31 that they're at, the U.S. research facility goes, it kind of gets destroyed towards the end of that movie, the movie. So what they did was after they did their big explosions and whatnot with that outpost, they kind of redressed it and shot the Norwegian scenes in that same outpost, kind of redecorated it so it wouldn't look exactly the same. But so yeah, so you're
Right.
seeing the the old outpost being repurposed here as the Norwegian one. And I said they said that Kurt Russell would smoke cigarettes and use that smoke as kind of the air, the cold air coming out in some of the scenes, like
That's
when they
funny.
filmed it in California on the studio. But yeah.
That's funny. That's cool.
Yeah, and they were all talking about how good Wilford Brimley was and his shots. And evidently he grew up on a ranch or whatnot, so he really gave kind of some authenticity to his doctor role as when he was cutting up the autopsy, cutting up the monster and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah, he really could get in there hands on and really kind of sell it, since he is used to doing that with livestock and in real life. But there was like this one intense scene that they were doing, and that Wilford was doing. And after the scene, John Carpenter, the director, comes up to him and goes, "Wilford, what were you thinking while you were doing that scene?" And he goes, "I was thinking about my laundry." But, there's a documentary on the Blu-ray, and they talk to everybody in the cast. And a lot of the cast members are from the theater, the like Broadway in New York, is where they actually pulled a lot of the actors. And this is a lot of their first movie roles. And that TJ uh, guy there, he TJ Carter or TK Carter, he's a comedian, and they actually they tended to do like have a comedian in one of the smaller roles. So they actually like uh, audition like Gary Shandling to maybe be in the thing. And I forgot who else there were. Oh, Jay Leno. They also auditioned Jay Leno for the role
Yeah.
that TK Carter actually got. But the in one of the interviews that Wilford Brimley did on the thing, he was and I think it was in 2016 that they did the interviews. But he was talking about just returning from a convention that was just on the thing. And he goes, they had a convention and it was just on that movie. This is kind of crazy. He's living his own life. He was he was unaware of all the fandoms and and then actually I was going to bring this up. There's an Outpost 31 website. I think I sent you the link, which is a website just on the thing. And the guy that runs it, I think Todd Cameron is his name. He actually wrote a novel. If you click on Snowblind, that's it'll give you a link, I think, to the to his book. Yeah, Todd Cameron. And you can get it on Amazon, but it's a prequel to the thing. It's about RJ McCready before he goes to the space or to the Antarctica station. Since it's not really tied to that movie, and he kind of did it independently, he renamed the character Richard MacArthur. But it's basically that character before he goes out to the station. So if you're kind of curious, I haven't read this book, but also Todd Cameron is a huge fan, so it's going to be pretty authentic as far as he kind of builds upon the sort of the backstory, because Kurt Russell kind of came up with his own kind of backstory for the character. That he was a Vietnam vet, and he's kind of isolated in the movie. He has his own little shack to himself. But yeah, everybody kind of leaves him alone. So the idea is that he has PTSD, sort of a loner kind of guy. So it kind of delves into that in the book. But also Todd Cameron, him and a friend in 2003 actually went to British Columbia to the location that they shot the Outpost 31 scenes, like say where the that scene where the helicopter crashes. They left all that debris there because it's such a remote location. No one goes out there. So when they went out there, they found all sorts of memorabilia, and they actually found one of the the propellers to that helicopter and brought it home with them.
Oh, that's cool.
And
That's
there's sort of a little documentary with the photos that they took and some of the video that they shot on the Blu-ray. So so that's kind of cool. Like I said, it's all inclusive. There's whatever you think you would like to see is on here. There's actually shout out to Rob Bottin, who's the special effects guy. Yeah, the script's on there too.
That is cool. Okay, that is cool. That's some
Yeah.
seriously cool stuff. Yes, that's awesome.
Oh, and to talk about
OCR. It sucks.
Yeah. And to talk about the script, it's written by Bill Lancaster, who is the son of Burt Lancaster, the actor. And Bill Lancaster only wrote 6 scripts, one being The Thing, and 2 of them being Bad News Bears and its sequel. I think he had only written Bad News Bears and the sequel before he wrote The Thing. So it's
that was
kind of
the one with that was the newer one, right?
No, it's one from the 70s, the original Bad News Bears. So yeah.
Well, I meant the second one, like but it was actually like a redo with what's his face in it. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. Bad News Bears, maybe I'm thinking the wrong one. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah. And so the Rob Bottin, he's the special effects guy that did all the creatures effects. And this movie has some of the most special effects in it. The idea was that they would build the stuff and do it along with the movie, but there was so much stuff that they had to do that they got so far behind on it, that they had to film all the stuff and kind of catch up with the special effects scenes, after in the afterwards. But Rob Bottin, and he also had to pull in various other special effects companies to come in and help him out because there was just so much. And actually, Stan Winston, one of the big guys, also did helped him out as well uh, in the kennel, the dog kennel scene where the things kind of morphing out of the dogs. Stan Winston did that portion of it. But yeah, Rob Bottin, he he worked himself to death. He worked from morning to night for like I forget however many weeks and months that he did this, so that when he was done, they were like, man, you don't look so good. And I think the last day of shooting, once it got done, he actually dropped and had to go to the hospital and spent some time in there because he was just so exhausted and kind of just worked himself to death. And he realized, after that, even though he loved doing it, he said that there's only so far that you could push your body.
Yeah, no kidding, shit. Yeah, this was this had so many tropes and things that I was familiar with from lifetime of watching this stuff, that it was like it's kind of cool to see an original take on it that stands on its own. Like, and I'm surprised. Yeah, you're right. Nobody's talking about ET.
Absolutely.
That's that. Yeah. I absolutely believe there's probably a cult following around a few of Kurt Russell's movies anyway. Well, at least, or maybe not cult, but like severe super fandom around him.
Yep. And then the whole movie, they weren't really sure how they were going to end the movie, and they were talking about in the commentary, and John Carpenter and Kurt Russell, they were both talking about the ending over and over throughout the whole time that they were filming. And when they got to the end, John Carpenter actually went with what Kurt Russell had decided the movie should end. So the ending of the movie, along with the dialogue, is straight from Kurt Russell.
That is cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it leaves it very open ended on like, again, like the if these people were professional hope killers, they're very, very good at their job. Just put it that way. Not to give any spoilers away or whatever, but
yeah. And there are theories online, but while I was watching on the commentary, John Carpenter did not say, and he said that he doesn't know who the alien is at the end.
Right.
Not to spoil anything, but there's some sleuths that have pointed out that
this is the eye thing.
There's no
okay.
there's no reflection in the eye, and also that same character, no spoilers, there's no cold breath coming out of the mouth either during that scene. So that's you can kind of think that. so yeah, that's kind of a thought. But yeah, I mean, maybe John Carpenter's the ultimate magician, and he's not going to reveal his his bag of tricks. But yeah, I'd always heard that John Carpenter was kind of when you talk to him about the thing, he goes, "Oh, well, that movie didn't make me any money," but and it's kind of dismissive about the movie. But watching or listening to the commentary, you get a real sense that he really loves this movie, and that now he's very appreciative of the fans of the movie, and that he maybe he could be a little gruff sometimes, much like Wilford Brimley, but he does love the movie, and there's not a thing that I would change about it. Now they did film an alternate ending to the movie,
okay,
where one of the characters survives, and it ends up where they're in a U.S. facility in America, and that they test their blood and find out that they're not alien. And so yeah, it's a somewhat of a happy ending,
Right.
but they filmed it, but John Carpenter never wanted to use it, and it's probably better if they hadn't have shot that, because the film studio was very much pushing for that ending for the movie.
Mm.
And I think there was a bit of bad blood between them with the ending, so that may be also one of the reasons they kind of cut ties with John Carpenter at the end of the movie, or yeah, after it. But you have to really appreciate his vision of the movie, and sticking with what he feels should be in the movie,
Well,
and kind of going against the studio.
yeah, I have no doubt that if the studio had had their way or their version of the movie versus Carpenter, like nobody would be talking about it.
Mhm,
It would have sunk down below,
mhm,
into a black hole, and nobody would have ever. Nope,
mhm.
right down the memory hole. I don't think so. I don't think so. Like that, John Carpenter knows a thing or two, and that's good though. I think that's a good tension though between like studios like that try to rein things in from a budget perspective or from another
Mhm.
take or whatever. But then you have that. See, now I'm like now I need to track down the Blu-ray and watch it myself and see
Mhm.
what's up because
See, it's
I want to hear that commentary for sure.
yeah, yeah.
That's
That's
rare.
my ultimate goal for this channel, is to make everybody physical media people.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, the thing, it's sad because you would think in the day and age that we live, and even true for the last 10 years, as digital and streaming has become more and more paramount and king of the hill, as it were. You would think, I mean, they would figure a way to nickel and dime the hell out of you and I and everybody else. I'm surprised they don't charge more for like a director's commentary or track, or maybe they can't do it because everybody has a podcast now. So like maybe who knows? I don't know. Or maybe well, when they do package it up, it's kind of lame. Like
Mhm.
I remember The Walking Dead, they were the first ones to get on top of it. They had like an after show a little
Yeah.
bit later on, like not right off
Mhm.
the bat, but like later on, they kind of that
Mhm.
was smart.
Mhm.
And but there was like a podcast too that would go with it. There was like unofficial and there's official one or whatever. And then
Mhm.
but anyway, they could I don't know, like that's just a like whole other, you know, few extra layers that you can get into it. And I
Mhm.
do I the movies that I love, like Vanilla Sky and the like, back in the day when I had physical
Mhm.
media, the DVDs or
Mhm.
whatever, I would play the commentary and just watch
Mhm.
the movie, and then it'd be cool because they'd be like, oh, in this scene, it's kind of annoying if they hop around too much, but
Mhm.
if it's never mind that, if it's just like somebody that's just somebody you're not used to hearing from, like maybe
Mhm.
a Quentin Tarantino or a John Carpenter or whatever. Well,
Mhm.
Quentin Tarantino is a little bit more front and center, I think, than
Mhm.
probably John Carpenter ever was.
Yeah.
But a little bit different. That bad example, but you get my point. But
Yeah.
yeah, that commentary track, that like it adds a layer of like whole things, and
Mhm.
like for
Yep.
crying out loud, people can do live stream broadcasts of Disney films they hate that are 5 times longer than the actual damn movie.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it's just interesting how that shapes out. So, but I'm like one of those fans that like I just like appreciate the hell out of something you
Mhm.
really get into. It's just
Yep.
nice to. It's really cool to
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a also I like the ending to this. I like
Mm.
that it was open ended like that. I love that because sometimes
Mhm.
the open ended thing works and sometimes it doesn't. But this
Mhm.
one I think it did work. And I say that because it's one of those. This is another movie like a lot like his Carpenter stuff or John Carpenter, his stuff. It sticks with you
Mhm.
and it makes you think like,
Yeah.
well, what if they would have happened, and like you try to imagine what what the next step would be in that world, and
Mhm.
it's just interesting. It's just very. I'm prone to that. I'm prone to not immune to that at all. very, very subject to it because I love, I love sci-fi books, and that's, a good sci-fi book will stick with you like that, just like a good movie, or as we learned last year, horror, which is something, a genre that I came to appreciate very much. Very baller, very killer, literally.
Oh, and now that you say novels, another thing that's interesting about this movie is that it's based off of the 1950s version of it, but
Right.
there's a short story by, I forget the name of the author. Let me see here.
It's at the it's on the front of the script here.
Oh, okay, John W. Campbell. The
Never
title,
mind.
yeah. The short story is called "Who Goes There," and
Okay.
in the 1954 version of the movie really kind of diverges from that. It's more or less, since it's a 50s movie, it's more of a guy in a monster suit kind of movie, whereas this 1982 version of the movie is more based on the short story. It's more true to the short story. I haven't read the short story. Be really curious about reading it. But the interesting thing is back then is very normal for movies to have novelizations. But since it's a short story, they couldn't really put out a novel for that. So they had Alan Dean Foster, who's known for doing a lot of novelizations. He does do a novelization, so it's based off a short story. There's a movie, but then now there's a novel that's based off the movie that's based off a short story. It's kind of unique kind of situation there. And as a feature on this Blu-ray, I'm not getting paid by Shout Factory, by the way, but but there's a feature on here with the interview with Alan D. Foster about him writing the novelization, which I found really cool. There's also a thing on here where they talk about the opening credits. I know we're getting towards the end of the thing, so might as well talk about the beginning of it. But there's a scene where, to start the movie, there's a kind of a spaceship that comes and crash lands on the planet. And so they didn't have the regular special effects team do that. They had they licensed that out to somebody else that did the special effects. They actually talked to the guy, and they also did the opening credits where there's the thing, says the thing, and it's kind of an homage to the original movie. But there's kind of like a tearaway reveal of the name of the movie in it. And they kind of they were outsourcing the spaceship and the title credits. And they were talking to this one guy, the guy that actually got it. He said that I forget his name, but he said that he kind of they asked him how much how much money it would take to do that. And he said, you always kind of inflate it a little bit just to see how much you can actually get for this. So he kind of overinflated it a little bit and said, okay, it'll be this price. And that they go, oh really? They go, oh, the cheapest that we got besides you was 4 times that. So we'll go with you. And he said that the guy that that New Line Cinema was the FX people from New Line Cinema was that team. And the guy that was head of New Line Cinema's FX division at that time was James Cameron.
Oh, no kidding.
So even back then he was kind of pushing for as much money as he could get.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
Well,
so who knows what it would have looked like with him, because you'd probably made it awesome looking. But yeah, the big tearaway, the way that they did it, he took a water tank, a glass water tank, and he put like garbage bags on the bottom of it, and they had the letters as tearaways, and that he would light the letters on fire and it would burn away. And it kind of was shot through that tank, so the water kind of gave it that kind of a that sort of kind of rays of light coming through. And
right.
so it looks cool on the movie, but it's kind of a low tech way of of creating that effect, whereas now you obviously would do it with computers. But I just found it kind of fascinating how they kind of worked around and did everything kind of physically, you know.
Yeah, well, the again, practical effects. It's not. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to be melodramatic and say it's a lost art because it's not. But when we see those kind of effects, we applaud those, and and not all of them, but some of them stand the test of time. And I could easily see rewatching this next year, or in the next 6 months for sure. Well, I will be for sure, because I just got to get a hold of that
Yeah,
director's commentary,
yeah,
that thing.
yeah, and
But yeah,
we kind of go ahead.
I was gonna, well, I'm just kind of, I just kind of like now it kind of reminds me of like what I don't have when I go. Yeah, sure, it's cheap, I guess, and it's convenient, but like I don't get the cool thing like the sound like. Boy, and the thing is, like you buy a new digital movie or you buy a movie digitally or whatever, and then it's just like, well, you got 17 different. We watched Triple R over the holiday break, and great movie. But aside from that, like there's all kinds of like English, French, Spanish. Like you can't tell me you can't slip in the director's commentary. They're
Right.
easy
Yeah, that's
peasy.
true.
Like but. Ah man, why don't they do that? I don't know. I guess they just don't do it anymore. They don't have time. I guess I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah,
Must be some
yeah,
reason.
it's kind of a yeah, it's kind of like a niche, a kind of market, the physical media kind of guys are, but
You just think that there was like there'd be some kind of like
mhm,
audience out there. I mean, look at YouTube. YouTube is all about
mhm,
all the other side things that have nothing to do with the movie or like the
mhm,
main thing that deals with the movie. I
mhm,
mean, good God, there's like endless nerd channels like talking
mhm,
about starships and weapons and power scaling and like all
mhm,
kinds of fun things like that
mhm. Well,
to entertain one.
yeah. Well, I talked about the channel Your Movie Sucks, and I think it's on one of his alternate accounts. I think it's a YMS watches. But yeah, he actually does sort of commentaries. He'll watch a movie and kind of watch it and talk through it. So yeah, and you kind of obviously they can't show the movie, so you have to kind of queue up his commentary on YouTube and
Right.
watch the movie yourself. But yeah, and he's not the only one that does it. There's a few other
That's
people
true.
that do it. So yeah,
Yep.
there's obviously a demand because they actually get views on that. So yeah, that's
Oh yeah.
definitely a thing to do. Which maybe we might do that at one point
Sure.
if
We got to try
if
it at least
there's a
once or
demand
twice.
for it. Yeah,
Yeah, you got to
absolutely.
try at least three times. Like see how it goes, and
Yeah.
maybe we can save that for like a in person get together, something like that,
Yep. Yep.
where it's like
That's true.
we're same place, same time, whatever. Well, we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of cool things that we I'm sure that we have ideas for the next year.
Absolutely.
So and a
Yep.
year is a long time. Of course, in COVID years, like everything, you add four or multiply four. I don't know, something like that. But,
Absolutely. But yeah, I think this is actually we kind of discussed doing this before our break, and I talked about it with some of the family gatherings of different people over the past few weeks. And this is one of those where people go, okay, so when are you recording this? What? And so it seems like
oh,
everybody seemed to be kind of excited about this one. So yeah, if you're watching it, say hey, hello. But yeah, trying to think. I think we kind of got this wrapped up. Unless you have something else you wanted to
yeah,
add here.
I'm just looking at my notes. I think we covered everything. Like this is pretty straight up. Like, I mean, the thing is that like I think the only thing that was like they were already and when you go through the movie you kind of see the thing like you kind of see the deck was they were already deep in enemy territory. But it was already game over and in a certain way. Although you can argue anything at the end, who knows. But
Oh,
yeah.
There's two things I want to actually I just thought of. Shout out to Jed, which is the dog, the wolf that they used in the movie. He's a spectacular actor. Um, there's a scene where he's walking down the hallway. We're facing him with the camera, and he's walking towards us. He walks, he stops, he looks into this one room, and then he turns back and he walks towards the camera, and then not looking at the camera, he turns and walks into another room. Now, to get a dog to do that is incredible. So yeah, it was very interesting. They talked about Jed in the commentaries about how great he was, and John Carpenter says it only took him about maybe 5 times to get that shot. That he was very good, and he was also very much a wolf, so that, and he wasn't used to people, so any loud noises and whatnot, they had to kind of keep to a minimum around him. And that the actor that played Clark, that was the dog wrangler in the research facility, he said that he bonded really well with the dog, which was good because they did a lot of scenes together. And also they had bush pilots to fly the helicopters, and there were kind of a gung-ho kind of crazy group. One of them said, oh, I'll crash my helicopter if you want. If you pay me enough money, I'll crash my helicopter. Which they didn't they didn't pick him up on that that offer. But there's a scene where the Kurt Russell's character is taking the helicopter to visit the Norwegians outpost, and the helicopter lifts up, and in the helicopter the pilot is next to him actually piloting it. The pilot in that scene goes, okay, Kurt, you fly. He hands over the toggle over to Kurt, and if you watch that scene, it's the scene in the movie. The helicopter kind of wobbles a little bit, and then kind of takes off, and they're talking about, he did a pretty good job flying it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So that's kind of crazy. Yeah, and John Carpenter normally does the soundtracks, but for some reason in this movie, he got Ennio Morricone to actually do the soundtrack, which Morricone's very much known for his westerns. He did The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and quite a few other. I think he did all of the Clint Eastwood Stranger Without a Name, or whatever those westerns were called. But yeah, Man with No Name. Yeah, series. Yeah. But Morricone, he's legendary as far as his westerns. But he did the soundtrack, and John got him to kind of mimic his style, so it's much more kind of a synthesized kind of sound as opposed to his normal sound. But in a couple of they didn't use all of his soundtrack for the movie, and there's a couple of tracks that Quentin Tarantino used from The Thing, outtakes from the soundtrack that he used in The Hateful Eight. So there's a couple of tracks there from Morricone from The Thing. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I grabbed Quentin Tarantino's book that I recommended the other whatever, and I kind of been itching a little bit to watch some of his big film list to kind of check some things off. But yeah, no, I don't think I have much else to say either. But like, those are all cool things. This is a great movie, classic. You can't go wrong, especially it being winter and all that. And of course, it plays whenever I scroll up.
Of course,
get that view counter rolling. Get that money printing machine. We're in Amazon, owners of IMDb. Anyway.
Yeah, and we're always griping about the numbered ratings on these, but I think the 8.2 out of 10 is closer to. I kind of agree with it. I would say 8.5 or 9, but But yeah, 8.2 is a respectable rating.
Yeah, excuse me, 8.5. Excuse me, 8.2. Yeah, it's in that neighborhood for sure. You could probably even argue that it's just rewatchability.
Yeah,
Pushes it up to like 8.75 maybe. But
yeah,
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 it's not a solid
yeah.
9. I mean, yeah. But anyway, yeah, we don't really do that here. But yeah, it is true. We do comment on that. We definitely comment on the silliness that we see sometimes. That we're here. Of course, the ratings are only as good as the platform, I guess. If you trust it or not, which you
Right.
should not trust any platform.
Mhm.
Grain of salt, big grain of salt. Anyway, that'll make me gripe, and it's something that we don't need to get into. But with that, yeah, this was great. I'm glad I get to watch it. I get to slow things down and watch this and really enjoy it. Kurt
Mhm.
Russell, you can't go wrong. Like it's just great.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. He said it took him a year to grow that beard for his character.
Crazy. It's so crazy. Yeah, he looks so young too.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. He. Yeah. And
it's so
they had previously did Escape from New York together, and Elvis, the TV movie. Elvis. He played. Kurt Russell played Elvis in that, and then
funny.
they followed it up with The Thing.
That's funny. Yeah, definitely haven't seen that one. Probably won't see that one, but that's okay.
Right.
Kurt Russell looks like a baby in this compared to nowadays. Like
Right.
even though he's got a little baby Kurt Russell with the young career. I'm sure he did. That wasn't his first time. I'm sure he'd been at work for a long time. But anyway,
Yep. Yeah,
yeah, I think
he was a Disney actor, so yeah. And actually, interestingly enough, the last thing that Walt Disney wrote was Kurt Russell's name. That was right before he died.
I did not know that.
Kind
Huh,
of trivia there.
interesting.
Yeah, so
Well,
yeah, who knows what Disney was thinking, but yeah.
oh yeah,
His last words was Kurt Russell.
that's funny. Huh. Kurt Russell. Yeah, going back all the way up. That's crazy. See, now I see he was in Gilligan's Island. That's funny.
As Jungle
That's
Boy.
yeah, like not like anybody, like nobody out there knows that. But
Hmm.
Gunsmoke
Yeah.
isn't Gunsmoke was on for a very long time.
Hmm. And but
Anyway,
yeah,
yep. So
yep, yep. No,
waxing poetic.
yeah, yeah. Kurt Russell's great in it. The special effects was legendary at the time. I mean, they was very much inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. I think a lot of things are, with it
Hmm.
being sort of this kind of weird, gloopy, kind of tentacle, kind of monstrous thing, and that was one of the things that drew Rob Bottin to the project was that John Carpenter, he said what he liked and wanted, but kind of let Rob go wild with his designs, and whatever he could come up with the craziest things he wanted to, and they they would go along with it, so you can make it work.
Oh
And they
yeah,
did.
absolutely. Yeah, no. Again, great movie. With that, just want to plug our show here. We have we've been running a little over a year now, and we're looking forward to a very exciting second year, especially going into 2023 here. And if you don't normally join us and you stumbled onto us, we have a whole back catalog. We basically do a main show where we cover a movie or a couple and kind of go in and give our takes. Nerdom, sci-fi related, generally anything in the nerddom. And then we also have our grab bag, which we put out on Wednesdays, where we go over the latest comics. Sometimes we definitely cover the news. Sometimes we'll pull out our recommendations or things we're looking out for, things you should look out for, that sort of thing. And then we're trying a new thing on Fridays, I think here, where we'll be actually like looking at looking actually a little bit closer, reading the 10, so to speak, on the ingredients of a comic book and what we like, what we don't like, diving into thing. I think it's a very fun show.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, and
very fun.
I saw our views on our last few videos kind of go up slowly throughout the last few weeks when we weren't available. So I appreciate everybody that are still checking us out, even though we haven't pushed out anything new until today. So, much love, much appreciation. If you like our content, like, subscribe, leave a comment, ring that bell for notifications, and all that jazz.
Yeah, and we are. I don't have it up here, but I'll put it in the description here. But both of us are active on Twitter, and if you have a great show idea, and you're not on YouTube or whatever, like let us know. Tag us there, tag Thomas, and he'll see it. If not, tag me, and then I probably will see it. But anyway, yeah, YouTube. Please comment, like, subscribe. We just picked
Yep.
up another follower.
We picked up 2. It looks like, because we were 30, we're 32.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know about you, but like, and I don't necessarily have any hard hitting goals here because we just do this for the love. But like, since we're here and we've got a little bit of momentum and we're getting this thing down, and more often than not, then I would say, like, I would like to see our subscriber count to
Yeah,
go
absolutely.
up quite a bit this year.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Steady as she goes.
Yep. Yeah.
And,
Yeah, we're not going to beat anyone over the head. That's not our thing.
Yep. And we usually publish our main show here every other Sundays and every other Mondays, as it were, in that cadence, Sunday or Monday. Sometimes we'll fall off and we'll catch up if it's a holiday or something on a Tuesday or later in the week. But anyway, I've been Mike,
and I'm Thomas. Yeah. Watch out for your neighbor. They could be an alien.
Watch out. Better get tested.
Got my blood here.